Fox 61, Connecticut's news station, starts with a weather impact alert.
In the next few hours, winds will start to pick up, and some areas will see gusts up to 45, even 55 miles an hour. Our weather team has issued a weather impact alert for the wind advisory. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. There's a possibility you could lose power. That's a big one here. So a reminder to make sure all your devices are charged up tonight. Let's hand things right over to Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank with a look at what to expect. So when are those winds really going to pick up?
I think right around the news at 10. So we'll be here to kind of get everyone through it. But I do want to let you know the latest trends that we're seeing. Yesterday, we were saying gusts could reach up to 60 miles per hour. So we've kind of reduced that higher end potential. I mean, we're still thinking 45 to 55 mile per hour gusts are possible. But still, we will take that little victory and run with it. It'll be for about 3 to 6 hour window in any one given town where those winds are really whipping. And similar to 2 nights ago, I think we could also see a fast moving downpour, rumble of thunder in spots as well. So again, as they mentioned, securing loose objects, charging your phone, all a good idea. There could be a brief shower as we head through the next couple of hours or so, but we're really watching the back edge of that between 9 to 11 o'clock tonight for that chance for a downpour or even a rumble of thunder in parts of the state. And again, it's going to be very fast moving, but will really start to kick up the winds. Temperatures right now are in the 50s to right around 60 degrees, and the wind is really no big deal at the moment. We've got gusts to 35 in Groton, though, but again, that will change. Noticing around midnight, those winds really spiking. We'll take a look ahead at the cooler changes for tomorrow coming up.
Rachel, thank you. And be sure you have the Fox 61 News app downloaded. We'll provide updates on the weather damage and outages. Just turn on your push notifications for real-time updates. All right, it's a story we've been following all day. A lot of questions remain for the Bosra community as a beloved father and bandmate is still unaccounted for after an early morning fire. Our team has been out at what's left of the home all day, watching as neighbors gathered and crews dig through the debris in the search for the homeowner. Fox 61's Victoria Anderson talked with neighbors who ran into the home trying to save the person who they describe as a very kind man.
A community is looking for answers after a fire engulfed a Bosra home with a man inside. And officials say that man is still unaccounted for.
Neighbors are saying they heard something explode.
Big boom. So I ran outside the front door.
This security clip shows the beginning of what would become a waking nightmare for neighbor Ralph Kusan.
I was about to go back inside, and then 2 more huge booms, and my wife yelled, my neighbor's house is on fire.
Around 3:30 in the morning, neighbors on Fitchville Road in Bosra heard 3 massive explosions, followed by a fire that shot right into the sky.
But for the most part, it's down. It's all collapsed on itself.
Bosra Assistant Fire Chief John Way's team fought flames from both the 2-story home and a neighboring 2-story garage, which they believe was filled with fuel.
We do have a report of a male missing right now. We do not know the location of him.
Bosra Volunteer Fire Department called in crews from Colchester, the Mohegan Tribe, and Salem to help search for the homeowner as family and neighbors stood watch, waiting for a sign of hope.
Calls to his phone have gone to voicemail.
Way says crews have focused search efforts on the basement, which flooded during the fire. But neighbors told us they saw a side door cracked open when they rushed in to help. A small sign of hope as the search continues.
Went in the door was already open for some reason, so I ended up just going in and yelling his name, and it was too smoky for me to go forward. I just couldn't hear anything.
And in a town where everyone knows one another, the weight of the unanswered questions weighs heavy.
You know, it definitely rumbled this down a little bit.
Officials are still investigating the cause of this fire, and they're working with an explosive response team to figure out what caused those booms that neighbors heard. Reporting in Bosra, Victoria Anderson, Fox 61.
Thank you, Victoria. Well, New Haven police have identified the woman who died after a quadruple shooting over the weekend. Officials say 18-year-old Alexa Acevedo from Norwich and 3 others were caught in the crossfire on Church and Center Streets. Officers say Acevedo died at the scene. The 2 men and other woman were hurt but are expected to recover. Investigators are still looking for a shooter or shooters. And state police have given us an update on yesterday's untimely deaths in Middlefield. The chief medical examiner says a 74-year-old man and a 69-year-old woman died by suicide. Officials were called to a Peter Lane home yesterday afternoon. Investigators say there's no foul play.
Within the last hour, we've learned the death toll in the UPS jet crash in Louisville has risen to 11. Louisville's mayor says he expects that number to rise to 12 by the end of the day. A spokesperson for the National Transportation Safety Board says they now believe an engine detached from the jet before it crashed, leaving a debris field stretching about a half a mile. Tomorrow, the NTSB will begin their first full day of their investigation, and we'll have more details from Louisville coming up later in our newscast. All right, new airspace restrictions are going into effect as the ongoing government shutdown impacts transportation nationwide.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy just announced what he calls additional measures to reduce risks in national airspace. Specifically, Duffy says there will be a 10% reduction in capacity at 40 U.S. locations. He didn't specify which locations, but we do know the restrictions will impact roughly 4,000 flights.
Well, Yankee Gas customers can expect to pay more each month after a new state regulatory decision. The Public Utilities Regulatory Authority, PURA, approved new rates, and it means most households will see their monthly bills go up by about $15. Attorney General William Tong called the decision disappointing news for Connecticut families heading into an expensive winter, adding that utilities continue to be rewarded with multi-million-dollar rate hikes.
For too long, we haven't had real investments in commercial corridors along our neighborhoods, and so we created this neighborhood investment fund, which is an $11 million promise to the residents of Hartford that nobody was going to get left behind in our progress.
Hartford's mayor has announced the first $2 million investment from the Neighborhood Investment Fund today. The $5 million project is meant to help revitalize commercial corridors that now lie empty or abandoned.
Fox 61's Alicia Hercules was at the announcement, and she tells us more now about how this will benefit local entrepreneurs.
8 local small businesses and property owners were selected to receive the funding, which will help with things like build-out costs, equipment, and furnishing.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Congratulations.
Among one of the 8 recipients is Adrian Dennis, the owner of Jam Dunk Supermarket, soon to open on Albany Avenue.
I want to serve the community with a happy face, a big smile, and I want everyone to feel like they're welcome, they appreciate it.
The supermarket will carry several items, including Jamaican snacks and food items. Dennis purchased the supermarket last year.
I've been working through it for the whole year, fixing it. Fixing everything from ground up.
With an ever-growing Jamaican population in the city, he says it's an honor to bring a piece of home to so many people.
You know, I came from Jamaica 2011 to this neighborhood, and I worked my way up, and I was able to get just a small slice of the American dream. And I believe in America, and I believe in this community, and I just want to serve the community.
He hopes to have the store open by mid-December. Darren Bennett has lived in the city for 14 years. He says he's looking forward to the new market.
I'm excited that the supermarket will be open pretty soon.
He's also looking forward to supporting a fellow Caribbean. During Mayor Arunan Arlampalam's first year in office, he began the Neighborhood Investment Fund, an $11 million investment to grow housing and businesses. $5 million was included in that fund to revamp commercial corridors.
For many years in the city of Hartford, places like Albany Ave were thriving commercial corridors, and we've lost that in the last few decades.
He says this funding will help rebuild community bonds and bring jobs to neighborhoods in the city. Major commercial corridors, including Albany Ave, Barber Street, Park Street, and Maple Avenue, are eligible areas included in the program.
This is an investment into the future and what's possible along our commercial corridors in places like Albany Ave.
The mayor says this is just the first phase of the investment fund. He hopes to eventually use it to build more housing and small businesses across all neighborhoods in the city. In Hartford, Alicia Hercules, Fox 61.
Majority of the U.S. Supreme Court justices appeared skeptical today of President Trump's emergency tariffs. Connecticut and a coalition of 11 other states filed a lawsuit in April to test whether the president exceeded his authority. Several conservative justices picked away at many of the administration's top reasons in defense of the import duties. The overall tone of questioning suggested a majority at least had reservations about the administration, leaning on declared emergencies to impose sweeping global tariffs with no limits. The court's expected to hand down a decision by the end of June or sooner.
A Waterbury woman is accused of stealing more than $13,000 from Medicaid. 61-year-old Carmen Baroa was charged with theft and health insurance fraud. State leaders say she was a personal care assistant for a woman with permanent, severe, and chronic disabilities, and Medicaid paid her salary. Records show Baroa began helping the woman in October of 2023. 2 months later, that client moved to the Dominican Republic, but the state says Baroa continued to submit timesheets as if she was still working all the way up until last August. She is out on bond and due in court tomorrow. If convicted, she could go to prison for up to 20 years. And a Wethersfield therapist is accused of billing Medicaid for therapy sessions that never happened. Investigators say 60-year-old Yvette Betancourt took more than $141,000 in Medicaid payments between 2020 and last June. She is a licensed marital and family therapist enrolled as a provider in the Connecticut Medicaid program. Inspectors say they found 38 fake patient records. Betancourt was charged late last month with theft and health insurance fraud. The crimes can send people to prison for up to 20 years.